Welcome back into the Dynasty Dumpster Fire podcast. This is your host, Tanner. And today I'm joined again by my good friend, Marty. Marty, how's it going, buddy?
Good, good. How you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. It's a little later than we wanted it to be. We tried to do this earlier in the week, but we're recording the recap of week 2 before or after a week 3 game has already been played, but that's okay.
It's true. That is true. I mean, we're already thinking about this week. We already saw Thursday night. Nothing surprising, but I'm totally with you there.
Yeah, so we'll try to, things are busy, but try to get them out as quick as we can. But hey, it still counts as it's not technically week 3, I guess, until Sunday. So we're going to get through and we're going to recap some of the Dynasty, I guess some of the performances from week 2, go into some of the Dynasty implications of the performances and just kind of chat about football along the way. So this series is just going to be a little bit more casual than usual. We're a little bit more organized generally in terms of how we lay things out with the show. But for this one, we're just going to kind of chat game by game. This time, we're going to try to maybe get through every game if we can. Maybe not spend too long on each one, but try to maybe just get our biggest takeaways from each and what we think in terms of the Dynasty sphere. So sound good to you?
Sure thing. Let's do it.
So the first game I've got up on my screen is the Bengals-Ravens game. So the Bengals were pretty putrid in the beginning of that game again. They looked kind of lost as they did the week before. Not quite as bad as they did against Chicago, but they didn't look good until the very end. And they almost had a comeback effort, but they fell short and are now sitting there at 0-2. So is there anything from that game that stuck out to you that you can remember or anything that caught you off guard there?
Crickets for Jamar Chase. I'm a victim of it. Many others are. Nothing. We don't know a thing about what he will do because we haven't seen it. But the one positive is that T. Higgins is alive and well. He ate up fantasy-wise.
Yeah, 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's pretty solid. Burrow, on the other hand, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 27-41. I don't know if it's the calf that's bothering him or what the deal is, but he does not look right to me.
No, I'm with you there. They were saying this might be the first year he might miss the playoffs. I mean, I do not deny that one bit. He can always turn it around. Don't get me wrong. It's only week 2, and we're about to enter week 3 here, this weekend on Sunday. But the question is, he's gonna play. Will he re-aggravate that calf again? What will happen? Will he go off? What is the cost of it? Because at the end of the day, if he misses the season, their depth for quarterback isn't really existent. And if it is, we don't know yet. But still, I mean, it's not the Burrow we know.
And they're in an interesting predicament because they need to win. Because 0-3 is like a death sentence for the playoffs. And but also his coach is coming out, Zach Taylor's coming out and saying, well, the longer he sits, it'd probably be the better. So it would probably be better for him. So that basically tells me that he needs a couple weeks to sit. But seeing as that they started 0-2, I don't really see as that being an option for him. Jamar Chase looked okay. It wasn't that I think he did well with what he could, with what he had. The end zone targets, he did not drop, but he did get a poorly thrown touchdown pass to him that he almost caught. I don't know if you saw that one. So he could have had a bigger game, but in terms of the 5 receptions, still getting a significant amount of targets. I'm not worried about Chase, obviously, but the Bengals as a whole, though, just are kind of weird to me right now. But yeah, good game for Higgins, and definitely we'll see what happens this week. It should be interesting in their game Monday night.
No, I agree. I mean, he did fine, and a lot of people picked him up really early. It just comes down to when will he start becoming fantasy relevant.
And time will tell. And I guess I haven't even checked the practice reports. I don't even know if is he slated to play this week?
I believe so. I haven't heard anything about him. The main focus has been his quarterback.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm asking about is Burrow. Yeah, I know.
Oh, Burrow?
Yeah.
I believe so. I heard he was supposed to be a go, but things can change, so we'll find out.
Yeah, I need to look into that. If you've had Burrow, and I know you have in a redraft league, that is That has not been what you signed up for.
No,
um,
sir.
Week 2 wasn't awful, but week 1 was killer. Moving into the Ravens side of the ball, I don't know how much of this game you actually watched. Wasn't fantastic, but I was moderately impressed, more so, of course, than week 1 with Lamar. I think Lamar looked pretty decent in that. This is the first time he's looked decent in that passing focus offense compared to what he had before the coordinator switch. No interceptions. He ran a little, he ran for 54 yards, which was good to see. Had 230 yards and 2 touchdowns, 24 of 33. So, did you have any thoughts about the Ravens? And more specifically, what did you think about Lamar before we start talking about his auxiliary weapons?
Well, they outplayed the Bengals, Cincinnati. For coach, they did it well. They won the way you're supposed to win. It was a tight game, but it goes to show when you play strategically, it works. Fantasy wise, I have no concerns. He's back. He's relevant. It's nice to see that. The receiving core, Zay Flowers definitely has emerged. I love that. I know you may not anymore in the Dynasty trade we had a week or two
Still do.
back. Okay, never mind. But
As a
still,
Lamar owner, still do.
yeah. But I mean, it's nice to know that he has a target and someone, as of now, is healthy. Knock on wood, that never changes. But Bateman and Odell are not consistently healthy, which definitely makes a lot of room for Zay to be the secondary behind Andrews. But overall, I'm pleased. I'm very pleased, and the defense did very well.
Yep, their defense looks legit. Andrews did pretty decent. That touchdown kind of helped him, but yeah, four receptions, 62 yards. Like he seems like um he's definitely the wide receiver preferred option, and maybe him and secondary to Andrews. I don't know that anyone will ever pass up Andrews as Lamar's number one target, but um he did very well, and I'm expecting a pretty decent game from Zay this week as well. Indy's secondary's poor, and Odell is not practicing. So, it should be wheels up for Zay Flowers. And I think, I think anybody that has him is pretty thrilled, especially those that took him, that he was able to fall towards the end, even after guys like Quentin Johnson, who we'll talk about in a second, have not been impressive so far. So, anything else you want to add about Baltimore before we move on?
No, poor Gus Edwards. It seems like Justice Hill got more carries than Gus.
That week,
Um,
this will change this week, though.
it will, it will. I mean, but he has to prove himself though.
Yeah, and they'll pull up Melvin Gordon, I bet. But yeah, Justice Hill isn't playing, so I expect wheels up for Gus Edwards. But they've moved up Melvin Gordon, and they also signed Kenyon Drake to the practice squad again. So
Hmm.
their running back room is. But anyways, um, what do you have for? Let me look for my second game here. So in my second game on my slate here, I have the Seahawks Lions game, which was a pretty awesome game in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, any thoughts on that one? Anything that stuck out to you there?
Gio's a reliable QB. I wouldn't say he's a QB1, but he's definitely has QB1 high ceiling. If you need like a miracle, the Octane offense is just wonderful. The run game is there. Everything you need in the offense is there. So I have zero concerns. DK Metcalf came back. It was a crazy thriller against Detroit. Both teams are going off. I'm just convinced that if Seattle has to play against a team that can score, they will keep up, and that's good for fantasy.
Yeah, that looked a lot more like the Geno that we saw last season. Week 1 was a little bit weird. They got blown out. How about that? Yeah, good to see Metcalf and Lockett still eating. I don't know really what's going on with JSN. I mean, he's a rookie, but he's not been impressive so far. I'm expecting maybe a breakout at some point, but he had 5 receptions, which is great for PPR. But he's yet to. He's running a minuscule percentage of routes, and he's not. His average depth of target is pretty shallow compared to the other two guys. So I don't really know what they're doing with him. But before we even talk about him, how about Kenneth Walker still dominating the carries when we were
He's a
so
dog.
worried about Charbonnet?
I mean, he's a dog,
17 to
man.
4.
You gotta let him eat though. He knows what to do, which is nice, and he's reliable. You can't ask for more. I mean, it's nice to have Charbonnet as a handcuff, but this really isn't much use for a handcuff if you You never get to use it.
We were so nervous about him, and a little people were nervous about Walker, and people were slightly nervous about ETN. But it seems like all they did was just draft their backups with those because they're letting them run.
That or their future replacement, but that's not going to be this year, though. Not
But
yet, at
they're so
least.
young. I mean,
Hmm.
Walker's the same age as Charbonnet. So like, um, I don't know. Maybe they'll work them in more as time goes because they like to do that. But I mean, Kenneth Walker, 17 for 43. The yards per carry was 2.5, which is actually really bad. But he got in the end zone twice. So if you have him for fantasy, which old shout out to Mike Reynolds, I'm sure he's loving that Kenneth Walker production. So
Hey, he
on the
won
other
that
side of the
trade.
ball, yeah. On the other side of the ball, anything stuck out to you about the Lions? I know that you're a closet Lions fan, so
Not, I wouldn't say like that. I got faith in Jared Goff and Amon St. Brown. Reliable, helpful. If you need, I think he's a QB1 now. Conversations, just for beginners. I mean, I know we put him in the QB2 category, but he has definitely ascended, and I think he belongs there. He is reliable when it comes to real life football. I can't tell if he wins or lose, but I would start him every week if you have questionable quarterbacks that you have question marks. I mean, he will get you points. He'll get you 20 points flat or above.
323 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, can't be really mad about that.
Dude, I love
Um,
that fake throw though, that we got the unnecessary late hit. That was the best part of the whole game.
yeah, he looked good. Yeah, he looked good. Okay, and then Amon Ra, same, 100 yards, no touchdown. Got a little banged up, but I think he'll be fine. Um, Montgomery's expected to miss this game, so even though he had a successful week too, so that should be good for Jahmyr Gibbs, even though the way they're using him is kind of funky.
It
Um,
is. It seems like every time he makes a big play, they bench him.
yeah, we'll see what happens this week. I mean, he's still got 7 receptions, which is, I mean, yeah, for PPR, man, that's something else. But
But yeah, but don't forget, I mean, if Amron St. Brown has to sit with turf toe, you got Sam Laporta, who's definitely ascended as a rookie tight end. You really don't ask for much. He is consistently performing. I mean, he is looking like TJ Hawkinson never left, but it's not even him. It's nice.
the only thing we need for Laporta is we need him to get in the end zone. The other tight end caught a touchdown again week 1, the Brock Wright or whatever his name is. So
Right,
if we
yeah,
can
yeah.
get a little bit more yardage, the targets are there, the receptions are there. Yeah, it definitely looks pretty promising.
He got 63 yards. Hawkinson
Yeah,
only got 66, and he got less receptions. So I'm just
yeah.
saying.
I
I
guess
mean,
for the tight end, that's pretty good.
literally, they Minnesota lost, and he got 7 receptions, Hawkinson, and then you got Sam Laporte over here with 5, and only difference is 3 yards. All I gotta say is that speaks for itself.
Yeah,
And
yeah, he looks
the only
pretty good. I
difference
mean,
for point value is 2 touchdowns, 11 points and 25 points.
not like you're biased or anything, but yeah,
No bias, just speaking the facts.
just kidding. Moving on to the Colts Texans. The storyline for that game is certainly the quarterback play. Starting with Anthony Richardson, he looked like he was going to explode for about 50 points until he got injured. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He was 6 of 10 at the beginning of the second quarter when he went out with that concussion.
Hmm.
Um, Good to see that he is not, that it's not a long term injury because I'm a big A Rich fan. But it sucks that he has to miss this week. So we'll have to see Gardner Minshew under center this week. I'm not expecting much from him. Um, but
Zach
before we move
Moss.
to and Zach Moss, 18 for 88 and a touchdown. He looks pretty.
He's gonna eat this weekend. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Until John Taylor comes back, that seems to be the move. And also, like,
Or if he breaks his arm again.
yeah, or until he gets injured. That's true. He is a running back. But yeah, I think Anthony Richardson, before we move on to the Texans, if he can just control himself a little bit to the point where he's not getting injured because he's so aggressive in the way he runs. I mean, he's giving me, as a Panthers fan, man, he's giving me Cam Newton flashbacks, dude. I don't know what you think of him, but what do you think from what you've watched?
RG3, the way he runs, he's trying to put himself in the hospital.
But way bigger though, way bigger than RG3.
I'm
And
just
also
teasing you, dude.
he
It's just
looks like a no, but he looks like a solid passer though. Like
no, he's
I've been
good.
impressed.
He's the real deal. Obviously we have to wait another week or two until he's cleared, and we'll see more. But For the Colts perspective, they're in good hands.
I think I was a little nervous about him just because he didn't have a lot of playing time at Florida and didn't have a lot of tape. But I think so far I've been very pleasantly surprised, and I think if they can win, they won't win this week, I don't think, but if they can win next week and be sitting at 2-2, I think John Taylor, if they are able to reach some kind of agreement, maybe he decides to come back, and I think that offense looks kind of like a sleeper impressive offense between Taylor, the way Richardson runs, and guys like Pittman. And Josh Downs has been pretty decent as well so far. So I think the Colts their future looks pretty bright.
Yeah,
How about the
I like your
Go ahead.
optimism though for Taylor though. I think the relationship is destroyed. I don't see him going back. I really don't. I mean, if I was working at a 9 to 5 and I was told by my boss that I don't matter, then I wouldn't go back. I mean, it's just part of business is ethics. So I don't know. It's all about integrity here in the business, and I think Jonathan Taylor has more pride on his shoulder than he does anything else, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, you give respect, you get respect. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gives him his 2 weeks or the pink slip and jets off.
The thing about that though is if he doesn't play, his contract, the year doesn't count.
That's
So
true.
he's in the same boat next year. So he's got to play. It just if it's in Indy or not. Like, is he going to say? Are they going to trade him or what? That's what I'm wondering. But no, he needs to play, or else he's in the same boat next year, a
Yeah,
year older and a year without playing football.
that's
So
true. They are looking for that first though.
yeah, I don't think they're going to get it.
Mm-mm.
Why would they with the runaway running backs? I mean, we just saw one of the best running backs in the league destroy his knee, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But Texans, real quickly, what do you think about Stroud? I know you like CJ Stroud,
That was impressive. The yards he's thrown is the most impressive piece of it
384.
all. And again, 0 interceptions. I told you last week. Only turnover he has was a fumble, but that wasn't courtesy of his throwing. When you look at the mistakes he'll make as a quarterback, that's where it counts the most. You can't count the errors that are done by the old line. Like you really can't. Things are going to happen. Mistakes are going to be done. But if he throws 0 picks, that's the most impressive, piece of it all. And for a change of pace, I think the Texans have a nice little light at the end of their tunnel. I mean, I like how the receivers, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and others are using this opportunity to monopolize.
Yeah, Nico Collins looked amazing. 7 for 146, man. I mean,
That's a
good lord.
sleeper.
Yeah, Nico. I'm kind of wishing I had more Nico Collins. And Dell with 7 receptions as well. No, I think they look good. The only thing that doesn't look good for them, obviously, you said their line, and then real quickly before we move on, because we got to get going here, the running game doesn't look good. But
It's
I think
trash.
that's because Stroud doesn't target his running backs, and I also think it's because their line is so bad. So, um, anyways, but yeah, no, I think both of those. That wasn't. I was interested in that game because of those two rookie quarterbacks, and neither one of
Yeah.
them failed to impress. Except I wish I would have got to see Richardson through the end. But real quick, let's get through the Bears Buccaneers super duper quick. We got to get through these a little bit more quickly, I think. Even though I could talk all day about it. Takeaways real quick from the Bears Buccaneers, besides the fact that Justin Fields looks booty.
Poor DJ Moore. Go Gadget will not be used.
He had
They tried
104
to.
yards this game, though.
I know, but they don't use him correctly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's that they don't use him correctly. Justin Fields just looks bad.
There's no defense. You heard that hundred
That's
thousand
true.
dollars worth of equipment was stolen from their Soldier Field this past weekend. There's literally no defense
Did you see
anywhere.
the FBI raided their DC's house?
I heard about that,
What the
and
hell
they
was
had
that
to
about?
they had to deny allegations that it was them,
I don't know. It
and because it
looks
was like
weird.
some former. I don't know. It's weird. Any I don't know. Chicago's in a predicament, and I feel bad for all the fans because they are loyal and dedicated, and respect to them. But we
Shout out
can't
to
really
John
talk.
Mintier.
Yeah, we can't talk much about it. The only person I can bring up to discussion who I'm really excited about is Rashawn Johnson. He's really exploiting this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to see what he does this coming weekend.
Yeah, I mean, their rushing altogether is just, I don't know. Their rushing has not been very good or very promising. Khalil Herbert looks pretty bad. I don't know. I'm
But
just
hear this out though. He got 6 attempts. He got 4 receptions. He got 32 yards, and he made 42 yards out of 4 attempts. And then he got how many targets did he get here?
you talking about Roshan?
Yeah,
I think you're
Rashawn.
looking at week 1, bud.
Am I?
Last week
That's
he
week
got 4
2.
carries for 32 yards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 4 carries, and then he got a couple receptions, got 10 yards, and he made all of his
Mm.
receptions. So the point is, out of all the running backs, he's 100% the most. He didn't drop a single beat.
Yeah, he
It's
looks fine. They just have to pick it up in general before I'm really excited about anybody.
That's true.
But no, he
That's
looks
fair.
okay. I'm definitely think he looks good. He passes the eye test. On the other hand, Mike Evans is good at football, and Baker Mayfield is shocking everyone. But
I'm
um,
impressed.
I wouldn't count on it long term. If I had extra quarterbacks and I had me some Baker Mayfield, I'd be trying to sell. If I had the numbers, if he's my whatever. But anyways, Chiefs Jags snooze fest. I think that was just a defensive game. Trevor Lawrence kind of pooped the bed a little bit. Same as ETN. Kirk looked good, so I think you can start him still. I think it's just going to be kind of a situation like you see with the 49ers, where if Kirk, Ingram, and Ridley are active, 2 of them will be okay. 1 of them might be left out, but that's what I'm feeling there. Anything from that game before we move on? It wasn't that exciting to me.
No, you nailed it. Kelsey's back in the picture, so it's nice to see him active, but you nailed it.
Yeah, Travis Kelce is good at football as well and got a touchdown. So,
Yeah, good for him.
yep. Packers Falcons was a good one.
That highlight, though, from our 101.
From Bijan.
Bijan.
You talking about the one
Bijan.
the video from him like over the top?
There's a lot of different
Did you
angles.
see the top down video of it of
I
his
did.
run?
It was electric. It's impressive to see how well he can run, and just he's gifted. He's not just athletic; he's very talented. So hats off to anybody who got him. Um, I hope he continues successfully and healthily. As you know, the running game is dangerous. So one bad hit can really mess you up. But he has it all in him: the receiving, the rushing. He has a lot of upside. But kudos to Koo, remarkable kicker. And then on the Green Bay side, Jordan Love is really he's the deal. He is the guy.
Hold on a second, man. Drake London's not dead, by the way.
I
Kyle
know that,
Pitts.
but I was
Sorry,
more impressed with the running though.
I agree, but also let's give Drake London some props. 6 for 67 and a touchdown. I did not see it coming, but I was happy to see it. Now just use Kyle Pitts, you dumbass. Now, what were you saying about Jordan Love?
Hey, go Ritter, go Ritter. Ritter got to throw
Nah,
a little better.
he looks better. Go ahead.
No, you're good. It's just the run game is really impressive, and I thought they wouldn't be able to do it again in week 2, but they did it. Week 3, I think their matchup is Detroit Lions off the top of my head. We'll see if they can pull that off again. I can't really say they're going to stop them because the last 2 teams have not either. It comes down to who can stop them and make them throw, and can Ritter continue to hit the targets, or will he get picked off again like he did in week 1?
Yeah. You were impressed with Jordan Love, even though he only had 151 yards, had 3 touchdowns.
He made it work with what he could, because AJ Dillon was not doing anything. He made it work with what he was doing. AJ Dillon kept getting stuffed up at the line for some reason.
Who is worse, AJ Dillon or Najee? Which one's worse?
I don't even know. To be honest, I mean, at least AJ Dillon's a backup, and Najee's supposed to be the number 1 starter.
That is true. Like the backup in
that is the comparison you made, though.
Looks better.
So who's better, Warner or Aaron Jones?
Warren or Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones. But yeah, breakout from not a breakout, 4 for 37, but the 2 touchdowns from Jaden Reed, and then the touchdown from the other rookie Wicks.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're to do with their receiving game, but good for them to get the win. But yeah, we'll see what happens this week, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moving on quickly. Well, let me jump around a little bit because sorry, I'm in week 1. I'm so dumb.
No, you're good.
I'm like looking for my stats. I know you want to talk about the Washington game. Bills Raiders. I don't have much to say except for Josh Jacobs ran for negative yards. The Raiders look bad.
All the running backs did very well. Hey, Latavius Murray is somehow still making touchdowns.
And James Cook, man, looks pretty good as well. So, Chargers Titans, don't know how they lose that game. Herbert looked really good. How about Keenan Allen real quick? I mean, good Lord.
He ate. I mean, if you were playing against him, it probably cost you an L. 31
It
points
sucked.
is really hard. 111 receiving yards, 10 targets,
2
2
tutties.
touchdowns. I mean, he caught 8 out of 10. That's good. That's 80% right there, man. That's passing the test.
Yeah, looked good. Quentin Johnston didn't look good. The running game didn't look good. Quentin Johnston is barely playing. I don't know what to do with
Kelly
him.
sucks.
Yeah, Kelly
Joshua
stunk.
Kelly did not exploit that. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing if Dotson or Spiller can exploit this opportunity now. Because Eckler's rolled out for the weekend.
Who's that? Yeah, Eckler is out again, so we'll see what
It's either
happens. But
Elijah Dotson or Isaiah Spiller. Those are the other two running backs, unless they sign someone. And that means they got zero faith in everybody.
the Titans have the best run defense in the league. I don't know if you knew that. So that might have something to do with it. But yeah,
Well,
I
yeah.
wasn't.
I mean, they practice against Derrick Henry. I would too.
And Tyjae Spears looks decent as a rookie running back. Looks like he could be the incumbent. The only thing I worry about with him long terms is his knees. He has arthritis in his knees and like a history of ACLs. But yeah, we'll see what happens with them. The Chargers need to start winning, or Brandon Staley's going to get fired. I can tell you that.
Yep, no disagreement there.
49ers, Rams. I know we just saw the 49ers play last night, but any overarching, real quick, we won't have to talk much about that game except Puka Nacua is ridiculous, and until Cooper Kupp
McCaffrey.
comes back, he's a must start. What were you going to say?
McCaffrey's still McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's good at football, can run for a lot of yards and catch some passes.
Did
Brock Purdy's going to throw 2 touchdowns, and that's it. No more, no less. I heard something about that on the Fantasy Footballers podcast today. They're just like laughing about how much Brock Purdy never throws any less or more than 2 touchdowns in any game.
Did you hear the McCaffrey stat? For the
Which
last
one?
12 games, he scored 1 touchdown, and they were saying that if you gamble and you were to put a $10 bet and flip the money over and over again, no, $100 bet, and you were to continue to flip and flip for an anytime touchdown by McCaffrey, and you started 12 games ago, like into last season, you'd be at $72,000.
That's crazy.
That's the
crazy.
craziest stat I've ever heard in my life because he's so consistent.
As long as he's healthy, he's so good. He's just so good. Yeah, they're good. They're Super Bowl contenders for sure, in my opinion. Like they are
They're going
primed
back
to come out of the NFC. Giants Cardinals. I know we also saw the Giants play last night. Saquon should miss a couple weeks. The Cardinals blew that game. I don't have much else to say. Jones looked a lot better that game than he did last night.
It is the Cardinals, but Joshua Dobbs is living up this moment, and kudos to him. He earned it. Did a lot of time in other teams, but like you said, James Conner is going to eat well, and he's the only running back I would trust. And when it comes to receiver, it looked much better than week 1.
That is true. It did look significantly better. We'll see if Kyler comes back. I saw a report today that it probably won't be week 5, although they are expecting him to play. So we'll see what happens. They need to win a couple games. I don't really know what their plan is. Cowboys dominate the Jets. Zach Wilson sucks. Anything else to add? CeeDee Lamb's ascending.
Wilson got a crazy long touchdown. That's the only thing that saved his fantasy value, but it goes to show athletically and talented, he is still. It makes sense why they chose him over Chris Olave back in that 21-year draft for 2022. I mean, it's impressive to see what he can do by himself. If given the opportunity, he'll make it happen. He only did it once, but still, that's cool enough.
He's good, but his quarterback stinks, and I don't think they make through the season with Wilson because he just looks so bad.
Well, let's see how week 3 goes because the Cowboys then themselves look like they're going to the Super Bowl.
They also look really, really good.
Poor, what's his name? Diggs with the torn ACL, we heard.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yesterday.
Unless they lose Micah, that defense is still going to be nasty. Unless they lose Parsons. But, yeah, that does hurt. But, those things happen, I guess. Season-ending injuries. CeeDee Lamb looks amazing. Wow. I'm just impressed with him.
Good.
The way that the targets he's getting and the yardage is just like, he's been more impressive than Chase this year. I'm not ready to say that long term, but they're 1 year apart, and I don't know, man. CeeDee Lamb seems like he might be creeping up on that tier. I don't know. We'll have to see if he continues what he's doing. I'll say
my last concern is Ferguson. He got a touchdown finally, and he did really well reception wise. but Schoonmaker got a touchdown as well too. So the question is,
Yeah.
who will be the tight end one at the end of the year?
Well, they spread it around. I mean,
Yeah, but
Ferguson's getting the targets, but yeah, no, they always use multiple tight ends, and don't forget they have that other kid who almost caught a touchdown too,
Hendershot.
Hendershot. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, but yeah, they look pretty good. On the Jet side, real quick before we move on, Brees Hall got 4 carries. I don't know what that's about, but
Stuffed him at the line. He's
yeah,
limited.
I don't know. Yeah, they looked bad. All right, tell me about the Commanders Broncos game. I'll let you
You
have that one.
sound so disappointed to have to end like that.
Who, me? No, I just
Yeah.
am saying like I'm not even going to start that one. You go ahead
No,
because I
you're
know you have
good. You're
some things to
good.
say about it.
Kudos to everybody who drafted Brian Robinson. He is definitely RB1. That is set in stone now. Sam Howell is looking amazing. It's definitely impressive to see what Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, can do for his, new team. Terry McLaurin is back. That was a crazy catch. Jahad Dotson didn't do what I thought he would, but he was there, and it was nice to see other receivers such as Curtis Samuel and Damani Brown actually, emerge and actually do something. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was nice to see that they all share. But poor Logan Thomas, that was a crazy and nasty hit on, and now he's out for the week with a concussion. Did you see that ejection
Yeah,
play?
yeah. That was just, and that guy had done that the week before too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was nasty. Logan Thomas can't catch a break with his injuries, but
No, that hurt
um,
though.
it's a good win in overtime.
Yeah,
I do think the Commanders look good this week. Like I told you, this week will be the test. But I wish they'd start throwing to Dotson a little bit more. But I mean, he was getting the targets until the fourth quarter. It's just they
yeah.
never really materialized into big yardage. But I mean, he's still involved. Brian Robinson looks good. The coaching staff hates Antonio Gibson for some reason, even though he looks okay. He just fumbles too much. I don't know about him, but
Butterfingers, man, Butterfingers.
so
On the other side with Denver, Russell Wilson went off.
looked better.
Um, what's the coach's name? Sean
Sean
Payton.
Payton.
He spoke too early in the season. I don't know what he was thinking. He jinxed it on himself. And then no tight end really was helpful for them, but the receivers were okay. Marvin Mims was impressive. Those 2 receptions, he made it work. And then same for was it Johnson? Was it something Brandon Johnson? They got some nice catches too for those 2 touchdowns as well. I mean, it was interesting game. They got a lucky Hail Mary. The defense should have done better on Washington's side, but in the end, they saved them from losing.
Yeah, gave up a lot of points, but no, it was a good game overall. It was entertaining. Javante's getting a lot of work, which is pretty cool. This off of that injury, so he's looking. Whitley's got the lock on him in both of our leagues, and he said I was asking him about him side conversation real quick, and he said he wouldn't even take a 1 for him. I'm like 24-1. Not that I was offering, but he's like someone already offered me a 1. I'm like, you didn't take it, so
Yeah,
he's.
that was me. I sent him a 1.
Oh,
So
that
I was
was
gonna get.
you. He
Yeah,
asked.
I sent him a 1. He was
He
gonna
said he
send
was
me
thinking
a 2
about it,
back.
but
Well, he took too long, and I had it on a time proposal, and this was before the season started, and he messed up because Devontae does not look amazing anymore.
who, Javante?
Yeah, Javante
Well,
Williams.
he never. Yeah, I mean, he should have taken the 1. Did you offer him my pick,
I don't even remember, probably.
or
And
it
then,
wasn't Bucks?
yeah, no, it was yours most likely then. And I was gonna get like a second back, and I think I was gonna send him one more thing to make it all work out. But like it was just I don't know. It's just I got question marks. P Ryan isn't that effective either. He came in late, but he did what he had to do. It's just
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know what to do with them either, but
Let me hear about your Panthers though.
well, before that, real quick, anything about the Dolphins Patriots before we get to Monday night? Nah, I don't have much to say about Dolphins Patriots from Sunday night. Do you?
Moster, he ate. That boy
Most of it
ate.
looked looked good.
31-year-old, he was doing well. When are we gonna see A
Stevenson,
Chain?
A-Chain got 1 carry or 2, I
When are
think.
we gonna see him? We haven't even seen him.
I don't know, man. He might. I don't know what. I mean, he was injured. We haven't seen him or Kendra Miller. Kendra Miller we'll see this week, but
And Hill, he's still good at football. Very good.
yeah, he's very good. And then this week he's going to destroy worlds because there's no Waddle. The Panthers, Bryce Young,
They still suck.
he looks a little lost. I'm trying not to be impatient with him because the talent around him is terrible. Say what you want about Stroud and Richardson, they have significantly better options to throw to than he does. And you can't argue with that. I mean, he's got a 33-year-old Adam Thielen, Hayden Hurst, an injured DJ Chark. Is that it? Another rookie, Mingo, who was the last rookie drafted of the major. I mean, he's a second-round pick. So giving him some time. He isn't driving the ball downfield. He's now injured, so I don't really know what to think of him. But again, I'm getting patient. It's been 2 games. He's a rookie. I'm hoping that he's able to kind of pick it up on the long term. Miles Sanders is a volume play. I think this week the receivers for Carolina you can play with a little more confidence because we've talked about, Andy Dalton is capable and competent. Anything
He's
you'd like to add about the
reliable.
Panthers?
No,
Yeah, he is.
He's the only backup QB in the whole NFL organization that I would put as a starter if I had to start up a franchise. I mean, he can hold a franchise for a long time. Like you said, we spoke separately off the podcast. His time at Cincinnati, so he has the track record. You're right about being lost. I did like that clip where Miles Sanders gave him a little shove to get him back in the center. That was kind of comical. But it wasn't bad. It's nice to see Chuba Hubbard back in the mix too, doing stuff. And Thielen, he looked good. He
For
looked
an
good
old
week
man.
2. Yeah, but you know what I mean? He rewind that clock.
Yeah,
Rewind
he was
the tape.
okay. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not expecting much. The only thing that I think sucks is that we don't have our first, but I mean, that's what, if I believe in Bryce, I can't be mad at him after 2 games. I mean, rookie quarterbacks, to be honest with you, Stroud and Richardson have absolutely overperformed what we expected. So, I think Bryce is right where kind of where we expected. Not great, bad team.
But cut yourself some slack though. You played against a division rival, and you might have
weeks.
lost at both weeks. But the Texans are also 0-2, and Indiana's only 1-1 because they beat a rookie team.
Yeah, so
So
you don't get the top 3 picks for being good. I will say that. So it'll take some time. On the other side of the ball, real quick, I don't have much to say except for Olave's getting a lot of targets and looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else stuck out to you and Rashid Shaheed seems like a pretty competent 2-3.
Kamara has job security. Everybody else, it sucks.
Williams
I
is
don't
hurt
know
now.
why they Jamal Williams couldn't even take advantage of those 3 weeks, and then Miller couldn't even get on the field because he wasn't healthy.
Yeah,
it
wasn't
all
good.
looks bad. It looks real bad.
So, agreed with that. We'll see what happens in terms of this week for both of those teams, Andy Dalton, and then with Kamara coming back. Kamara's back next week, so with Kendre Miller leading the charge this week. But last game, first thing we should say about that real quick before we finish up here is sad for Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
He's just a likable guy. He's one of those guys that like you root for. He shows up, does his job, doesn't seem to be caught up in anything else. And the unfortunate thing about that is they haven't come out and said exactly what his injury is yet. But from the video, it looks like he tore about damn everything in his knee. So quickly ruled him out for the season. Same knee he injured at Georgia in 2015. Very, very possible doesn't play again. What do you think?
It's
not a doctor.
Yeah, no, I know, and he has commitment and he's a hustler. He's not fairly old. I mean, he could bounce back, but I don't think we'll see this version of him again. Sadly, football is one of those games where you do put your life on the line, and you do deal with long-term damage for the rest of your life. And he has to, as a grown adult, has to determine outside of the football player mentality and as a competitor is what do I want to live with the rest of my life? Because from a fantasy perspective, it would be great to have him back, but how does he want to navigate the world in a wheelchair with how does he want to do this? Like, does he want to do this on his own 2 feet? Like, does he want to experience severe knee pain the rest of life? It all comes down to what he wants. and he's about to be 30, and it could be another Luck. Is it Andrew Luck was his first name?
Yeah.
Situation. I mean, I'm being serious. Like, I mean, this sort of injury can really that gives you so much like PTSD, man. It,
Wh-
it messes with you bad in your mental health.
He also looked like they rushed him to the hospital too with the thought that it could have been like an artery damage or that he could have like could have severed something. So good to see that didn't happen. He flew home with the team, but yeah, very sad.
I think the NFL really should look at maybe some of these hits. I get it; it's part of the game. It's what it is. I don't think Fitzpatrick meant any foul in it. He's a professional. I know what it was an accident. I mean, your goal is to win the game, but it still sucks though.
It was ugly though. I mean, and it also looked like Chubb had already
Bad.
gone down. So
Ugh,
um
it was bad.
the rest of the team, Deshaun Watson, don't know what the hell his deal is, but he looks terrible. He might just be
And
bad now.
Elijah Moore, he couldn't even
Targets.
exploit on an Amari Cooper limited
Got a lot of
presentation.
targets,
He did, but he
but
didn't pull them in though.
no. But I don't know if that's him or Watson, but Watson just looks
We'll
lost,
find
man.
out this coming weekend.
Yeah, if he's got to get it together. I mean, he's locked in. So for a dynasty asset, he's locked in because he has so much money coming his way. But in the end of the day, he is not. That does not look like a good investment right now.
No, he's not a streamable quarterback if you need that for your redrafts
He's
at
most
all.
people's quarterback one, so like that sucks. What about the Steelers before we get out of here? They
Poor Pickett.
oof.
I mean, he did the job, not the way you should. It was courtesy of the defense. Kudos to George Pickens. He finally got his touchdown for the season. It was a nice
Only had
touchdown
4
too.
receptions though.
But that's all Pickett's. Pickett needs to really like find him and give him the ball. I mean, it's. I don't know. I don't. If he has to, if he doesn't perform in real life, he won't be there next year too.
Who?
Kenny.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, man. I think if he finishes and they have nothing to show for this season and they have a losing record, they're gonna have some question marks when they come to that draft. I mean, if a quarterback comes their way, why not pick one up and just restart again? They have other pieces. They just need the quarterback. And Kenny Pickett may not have any trade value if he doesn't do well this season. So why you can't do much with? I mean, it's like
It depends.
Trubisky, like they got there.
I just feel like they're really committed to him, but I guess we'll see.
They said the same in Chicago with Trubisky when they drafted him so high. I mean, I'm just saying people change.
Yeah, I don't know how long Trubisky. I don't forgot how long he played. I don't know if he played 2 or 3 seasons, but
I
no,
think it was
it
two
depends.
season, man. It was two
I mean,
season, and he was done.
222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Najee Harris looks just like the slowest human being to ever play in the NFL. I don't. Did
Everybody
you
said they can
watch
run
him?
faster.
God, he looked terrible. Like I don't. Is he like? Did he gain weight or something? Like why is he so slow? Like I had to trade him, dude. I was literally like spamming offers. I'm like, I don't want Najee on my team anymore in that league because since Montgomery got hurt, I was like, I'm gonna have to start freaking Najee. So I had to went out and paid for him and a second
Josh Jacobs.
for Jacobs, who I feel much better about, who's this actually younger, I think, or around the same age. They're the same age, and I would much rather. I think Jacobs is significantly better. And I think if Jacobs would have been playing like he did last season, there's no way that deal would have gotten done. So I'm glad. I wanted to exploit the fact that he had a couple down weeks because we know what Jacobs can do. I'm not very confident that outside of a big volume play that Najee can be any good. And he's losing work to Warren.
He is. I mean, don't get me wrong. He had more carries, but Warren made more use of what he was given. And
He
that
did have
doesn't look
higher
good.
average this week, but Warren looked significantly better. Go
But
ahead.
Warren is an undrafted free agent, and Najee, the only thing he got going is his Alabama University alma mater. I mean, that's it.
Draft capital, first rounder.
But that's it. Though. The pedigree's it. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I'm not hating on him. He needs to reemerge to make himself relevant. But as it stands, if I'm a Steelers fan and I have him on my team, I'm probably benching him just out of respect for your own pride. I wouldn't do that to yourself.
No, it's ugly, man. I don't love it, but at the same time, it seems like that team really likes him. So we'll see what happens there. But really looking forward to week 3. lots of cool things happening. We're watching it together this week, so we'll be able to get some thoughts in live time. Anything you want to say here before we close it up, bud?
Tell me your two biggest upsets for the week.
My
This
two
coming
biggest
weekend.
upsets, or my two?
Two biggest upsets you think would happen this Sunday or Monday.
Well, it ain't the Commanders Bills like you want it to be. Two biggest upsets. I mean, I want to pick chalk in all these, man. Like, the only thing I'll say is, like, I think the Steelers would technically be an upset. I think that game can go either way. The Saints would technically be an upset. That game can go either way. The Lions would technically be an upset. But those are the only ones that I feel confident picking the lower ranked team. Like, I'm not picking the Texans. They're highly, they're big underdogs. The Panthers are big underdogs. Not picking them. Not picking the Colts. Not picking the Bears, for God's sake. But so, yeah, I know what you're going to say, but go ahead and tell me your
Watch
rationale
the
there, bud.
Panthers pull it off with Andy Dalton, and that's going to put Bryce Young in a pickle. But I'm telling you right now, I see Houston and Washington being two big upsets right now, not because of their money line or anything like that. It's just because of the teams they're playing against. I mean, Buffalo lost to a Jets team without Aaron Rodgers, and then the Jags, they're 1-1. They lost to the Chiefs, but they beat who did they beat week one? Was it
Indy.
Indiana? Indy. They beat week one Indy. So again, it's not really much to talk about. So they got the tape and all, and I'm sure the Texans can fix what Richardson couldn't do. So it will be interesting to say. But those are my two big upsets for this coming weekend.
So calling your shot, buddy. Well,
Making it loud and proud.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Looking forward to watching that with you. This was fun. We'll try to get this out earlier next week. If hopefully we can do this every week. Things happen. I don't know, but we'll see. But I'm glad. I'm glad that we're on the same kind of wavelength here in terms of we're in lots of leagues together, and it seems like we're both kind of looking at the same thing. So this is fun. I'd like to keep doing this, and this is a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you for having me again, Tanner, and we'll talk soon.
We will do it again soon. Thanks for checking us out, guys. Keep posted on the Spotify page and Apple Podcasts. I'll try to get uploads as quick as I can. Going to continue to post and try my best to keep content coming out to you. So keep checking back, and we'll see you next time.